What's up? This is Vanessa from Double XL. I'm here with Shaheem. Take two. No. No Ramon today. Ramon's in, as you said, Paris. Right? Paris. With his loved one, his significant other, celebrating Miss Ramon, or Mr. Dukes'
Mrs. Dukes.
birthday.
Happy birthday to Mrs. Dukes. Love y'all very much.
Happy birthday. All right, so we miss him, but we'll see him next week. So let's
I don't
see.
miss him too
You don't
much,
miss him.
But,
I miss him.
Yeah.
50 Cent, Hollywood Walk of Fame, gets a star. Big deal. What do you think?
Big deal. Well deserved. I love that the Hollywood Walk of Fame are giving people from hip hop their just due, their just well deserved accolades. I think it was in the past few years we've had Pharrell, and of course Snoop Dogg was just I think Snoop was last year, right?
Snoop, I don't remember what your Snoop was.
Because that was propelled his "I Want to Thank Me," the "I Want to Thank Me" speech. Is cool, but we definitely have had a nice flood of hip hop stars. I think Pitbull was in 2016.
Yeah, Pharrell, Puff, Cool J, Ice Cube, Cypress Hill, which is interesting.
Right.
So there's been 9 rappers, if you count Cypress Hill as one rapper, that have received Hollywood Walk of Fame stars, which was a cool event. I mean, it's a quite an honor. Right now, June 30th is National 50 Cent Day. I don't know if it's national. It's 50 Cent Day in California.
January
3rd. I don't know why I think we're in June.
I love it, June. That's my birthday.
January 3rd, June. Today's my birthday.
It is?
Yeah.
Today?
It's also the 17th anniversary of Get Rich or Die Trying. So,
Man.
50 Cent mode
Two
today.
milestones. Happy birthday to both.
Thank you. And I will say thanks on behalf of Get Rich also.
Yes.
No, so there's 17 years since that. 50, we had a premiere for 50. I didn't have it, but there was a premiere for 50 last night for For Life for his new show. So a lot of 50 in the past week. Plus, he went in on Gayle King for her interview with Lisa Leslie, right? It was Lisa Leslie about Kobe?
Yeah.
And
a lot of
talking
people
about
upset.
that. A lot of people
Snoop
upset.
went in on Gayle King. I saw Boosie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's jarring. We don't want to take away from giving 50 his praise, but the Gayle King interview, it was a little jarring. It's the snippet that I saw where they talked about Kobe. Kobe is a very, very sensitive subject right now. It was something that obviously came out of the blue on January 26th. People are still hurt. The world is still hurt from it, and it just seems like a time where we should be, especially the man died with his daughter, and the other 7 other people that were in the helicopter crash, one of the biggest tragedies that we've seen celebrity wise. The biggest tragedy that I've seen in my lifetime with a celebrity. Usually celebrity, they die alone, and that's horrific enough, but to have your daughter, and let alone 7 other people, is just, it's heartbreaking, and it's something that a lot of people, including myself, can't even reconcile, and it doesn't even feel real. So, when you go back and backtrack on the Kobe rape allegations, it just seemed like it was sort of like ambulance chasing. But back to 50. Getting back on track with 50.
So we had him and Dre together, which was
I want to see them do more.
Yeah.
Like I think it's great that they came together. I get a feeling that 50 and M have always been, close for this entire ride. I get a sense that...
Well, we've never seen them have any sort of public fallout.
Not at all.
I mean, the energy has always been nothing but like that they have a genuine relationship. We've seen a little bit different with 50 and Dre, but it seems...
not like a beef, but just they haven't been as close.
You don't buy that they're as tight friends as the other two.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dre was somebody who was kind of caught in the middle when it was 50 versus Game.
Mm-hmm.
Dre's in the middle of that, and Dre, he went through a lot of craziness in his death row days. So as he got older, I could definitely see why he wanted to distance himself from that. But it's great to see all of them come together. Get Rich or Die Trying. When you think about this is the 17th anniversary. When you think about the great albums of the past 20 years, even of all time, but especially the past 20 years, Get Rich is right there on top, from top to bottom. It's a masterpiece. And, 50 has done a lot for the culture, man. He put a lot of artists on. He's had a lot of great moments himself. Uh, him and Kanye battling for the Billboard spot. So many great videos, the movies, and of course, Power. So I think it's well deserved, and I'm happy to see it. I would love for him, Dre, and Eminem to kind of lock back in together. I think when the three of them are together, is has to be one of the strongest forces in music. Period.
Agreed. I don't know when, if we will see that or not. I mean, it is 18, 17 years later. Um, like, do they even have the drive or desire for that? But it couldn't help
Yeah.
but be exciting when you
Well,
saw
M
them all
just dropped the
together.
album.
Yeah.
M just dropped the album, so he's
I just
ready
mean
to
on their
compete.
individual, their
Right.
individual journeys at this point.
Right.
I don't know if they even feel it's necessary as much as we think it would be exciting.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see.
What did you think when you saw 50 getting emotional? That's probably the first time in his career where we've publicly seen him get a little choked up.
I mean, well, it's a cool event in general. I'd never been to the Walk of Fame before, so going out there and seeing how buttoned up and well run the whole thing was, and then to see all the different stars that came out to support. I mean, I could imagine 50 hearing what M had to say about him, hearing what other execs, hearing different people were saying about his accomplishments to come out and honor him and put you on the ground permanently and all that. I think that caught up with him in that moment. Just from watching it there, it seemed like it just hit him of what he accomplished or what was going on at the moment, and he kind of got overwhelmed with feeling from it. And I think that it's always cool to see 50 be human.
And everybody was there, right? The whole Interscope, like all
It was
of
a
the
lot of the
old
old
regime.
Interscope people, from back in the day during his run, because it's kind of a new guard at Interscope now. So they brought out everybody. I don't know if it was everybody. It felt like a lot of different people, and most everyone from back in those except for Jimmy Iovine, which he brought up and said it didn't feel right that Jimmy wasn't there, that he did invite him and stuff. So I thought it was interesting to kind of pay homage to Jimmy during the speech by acknowledging that Jimmy wasn't there and it didn't feel right to him.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting moment. And then everybody took photos on the rooftop with, M, Dre, 50, Top Dog, and stuff. So it was cool to see all those guys there. And you can't help but think money and power. It's just in that moment of them all standing
Right.
together. Do they emanate it? No, it's not like, oh, I feel like I'm around so much wealth. But you look at it and you're like, just what's standing there as far as power and success, the money that came with that. I mean, it feels very historical.
One of the, before we wrap up, I'll just say, 50 has, absolutely one of the greatest uh, rises in hip hop when you look at, just his story wise. Just thinking about firsthand his music on these mixtapes in Jamaica Avenue. These I know that some of the newer viewers to this, they never really even experienced like going to these hubs and seeing these actual CDs on blankets on the floor, and seeing Fifth from his song might be number 12 and a 20 song track listing to
Right.
being rising to number one and having his own mixtapes to dropping this Megaton bomb, Get Rich or Die Trying, and having his career, and just the fact that it's been done in less than 2 decades, and it went by so fast. It just seems like yesterday 50 was coming out, and the early 2000s, one of the greatest times in my career, and just all the music, the whole
I mean, I feel bad for
mixtape
whoever
frenzy.
in our profession, our world, whoever wasn't around for that time.
Such
Not
a
feel
great
bad,
time.
but I think you missed out if you weren't seeing what was going on at that time and what it felt like on the media side, on the record label side, on the you know rapper hitting the charts and SoundScan side. I mean,
It was
all of it was
exciting.
just, it was exciting. I don't. It's hard to catch that feeling as much now as you could back then, just from what was going on.
And one last thing I say, I think that just the artistry of it too, because people forget that nowadays if something happens, you want to respond right away. You just get on your phone and you actually just go to Instagram or you go to your live or whatever you do and tweet it out, whatever. You go to social media and it's instant. But back in that time, you had to have a little, yeah, you had to have some artistry to it.
Yeah.
Like something happened, okay, we going in the studio tonight.
Yeah.
We putting it out on the streets and we gonna see what happens. The mixtape comes out the next day or the next 2 days.
Yeah,
like,
and who knows what the mixtape cover is going to look like. 'Cause
Right.
that could be a whole other get your moment as well.
yeah, it was a lot of artistry to it, a lot of ingenuity to it. I miss that.
All right, moving on. Although we could talk about that part all day, and maybe we should one day. Oh, we're going to have Tony Ayo come up and talk to us about that time period.
Oh, that's gonna be
Yeah, we
great.
talked
When
to
is
him
that?
then. I don't know yet. Maybe next week. We talked to him about it at
Okay.
Walk of Fame, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll come up." So I was like, "We can get some good stories."
I got a lot of stories with Yayo.
You
and
can't
I'm
help but
I'm
have a lot of stories with Yayo.
I'm going to break those stories out when we sit
Good.
down with him.
Billie Eilish, right? That's it. She talked some shit about hip hop. She said, "Just because the story isn't real doesn't mean." She told Vogue, sorry, this month. "Just because the story isn't real doesn't mean it can't be important. There's a difference between lying in a song and writing a story. There are tons of songs where people are just lying. That's a lot of what rap. That's a lot in rap net right now. From people that I know who rap, it's like, I got my AK-47 and I'm fucking, and I'm like, what? You don't have a gun. And all my bitches, I'm like, what? Which bitches? That's posturing, and that's not what I'm doing." So Billie had a big week at the Grammys, and then came back, and of course the interview was probably done before the Grammys, maybe not, I don't know. But they drop an interview, and she's talking some shit about hip hop. And we had a response from Styles P, because everybody was pissed off. And Styles said, rappers can say whatever the fuck they want, and pretty much all rappers lie. If you don't like it, don't listen and mind your own damn business. And then he also said, who is Billie Eilish, I guess? Why the fuck do we care what she thinks? And she is sort of right, but she don't get the culture, nor is she part of it, so why do we give a fuck? How or why is her opinion important to us? So
I think Styles pretty much hit the nail on the head. Like, I mean, we hear all of these songs from rappers talking about how other rappers are lying, and it's common sense that we know that some rappers are lying, some rappers are embellishing, some rappers use excuse me, poetic license in it. It's art. It's being creative. But I do agree with Styles that, we'll take the criticism from people inside of the culture, people contributing to the culture, people that actually care about the culture will take that criticism. But people outside the culture, like, don't even speak on it if you don't really understand what
if you
it's
don't
coming
like what she
from.
said, don't collaborate with her.
Yeah.
Like,
Which I'm sure
that, I
it
don't
wasn't
think
gonna
Styles has
happen
a big
anyway.
plan, but I think in general, like, if you don't like what someone has to say with hip hop, then don't fuck with them, and then we kind of X them out of things, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like what she's saying, but everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon because she just won all these Grammys and everything, rappers like to stay but near what's hot, right? Or else you can stand up and be like, hey, you talked all this shit, we're not fucking with you because of that, and back off. So I'm curious to see, who's the next to record with her, if anything, or what that is. And
it feels like Drake, right?
yeah, it feels like, right, they're weird friends, yeah.
Yeah, they sending texts back and forth.
So is Drake checking her on anything, or they not even talk about it? I don't imagine they're having any kind, like, he's not like, what you said was kind of messed up, or whatever. It's just it. Shit flies because she's friends with Drake, right? So all is good. Sha, what do you think?
I think that Billie got to stay in her lane, but I definitely
it's
think
very Miley Cyrus, right?
I definitely think we'll see her and Drake do some music together.
Yeah.
I definitely think that's coming in. Like I said, hip hop is the biggest genre right now. It's funny that even people from, these other walks of life feel that they gotta mention hip hop because it's just so omnipresent. But at the end of the day, her opinion is her opinion. There definitely are some rappers.
Well, she's entitled to her opinion.
Yeah.
We're not. It's
Absolutely.
a weird line where all of a sudden we're like, you're not allowed to have an opinion if it's not what everybody agrees with. So I mean, she is allowed to say whatever she wants to say. It's just with that opinion, you have to be able to be prepared for the heat that will come with it.
Yeah. And it's,
Gayle
like I
and
said,
Vanessa.
it's one of those things where, like I said, we definitely will take the criticism for people inside the culture, but for people outside the culture, we're going to let y'all say what y'all say. We're not even going to give it no life.
All right. Forget her. Moving on. No. Next. Jay-Z. Beyonce. Blue
Yeah.
Ivy. It's really Blue Ivy's fault, but they didn't stand at the National anthem, right, for the Super Bowl?
at the Super Bowl.
At the Super Bowl, no standing.
Really good game. First of all,
Not really sure about that. My verdict's out because I didn't pay attention, but I'm with
oh
you.
nah, it was good.
I don't know.
Pat Mahomes won, and I like him. His father used to play on the Mets, my favorite team. But
I do know you're a Mets fan. Yeah.
yeah, they had a really wild. If anybody gets to YouTube the footage, they had a really wild parade yesterday, which was funny. But the whole standard thing, Jay Z was he was just in New York, and he just explained that
Yeah, he just explained why he didn't stand. Go ahead,
yeah,
sir.
they were caught up. They were actually caught up in the moment. He was looking at it from a perspective of, he was one of the producers of the entire show, dealing with the entertainment. So, he's looking at it from a technical aspect, making sure everything that is, everything should be going good, and he also explained that if it was a statement or something that they was trying to do, he wouldn't involve his young daughter, which makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think Jay would have her be involved in any type of thing political, not at this juncture. And he kind of made light of it too. He said that if we did tell Blue Ivy that it was something that we was gonna do, she would have been, Daddy, is it time yet? Like, it's 7:05. Are we gonna do it yet? Like, she would have been asking him every few seconds. So I think that people made a big deal of it. But as you can see, it was other people in that section, like the entire section that they were sitting at. A lot of people were sitting down. It was, younger people, older people, black people, white people. Like, everybody was just actually sitting down at that juncture for some reason. So
Let's see what else is going on. So, Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill are beefing. Surprise, surprise. So,
wow, that was a train wreck
Nicki
yesterday.
said, talk some shit to him, called him a clown. But you're a clown. Well, do clown face emoji. You do it for likes, Twitter fingers, beat women scared of men. So she accuses him of putting her hands on women. He responds at some point saying, the only way you can try to kill my character is to say I beat women. Talk about your brother, convicted of rape, and you been knew and paid for his lawyer. Your little brother touched that little girl too. You know I know. You want me to crash with your boyfriend, and I won't. And she replies, and he replies, and what's it called? She accused him, you beat your own sister and taped it, spit on her and taped it, kicked me in front of your mother and sent her to the hospital. Sucking Drake dick made you feel tough again, move on. And basically, they're all over the place. He did acknowledge that he has a baby on the way. And my girl's pregnant. Watching me tweet about my ex is very clownish. I'm an exit. And I think he told her to go to church at some point. And then he made it very clear that he has never put his hands on a woman before, and wanted to clarify or clear that up. And I guess it seems like there is a real war between Nicki and Meek right now, especially after them bumping into each other on the Grammys weekend. And
The
maybe it's
exes.
Nicki and her husband, sorry, versus Meek.
It's the exes. If there's one place that you definitely do not want to have quarrels or beef with your exes on social media, and we've all been there, like, uh, you know, ex girlfriends. One in particular of mine, I've said some of the nastiest things that I could possibly think of in my brain via text message when we're arguing. I know a lot of people have said those things too, but it's dangerous. When you make those type of allegations about a man beating a woman, especially in this day and time, and those are gonna be something that now that she's made that allegation, it's gonna be something that she has to, like, really talk about. When she starts doing interviews again, people are gonna ask her about it. Like, it's gonna be ugly for both of them. It's unfortunate that it went that far. Um, you know, Meek said that she knew that her brother was, you know, sexually mistreating those young girls. That's why
Well,
he
he's
stepped
found
out the
guilty
road.
and sentenced.
He's
Yeah.
definitely found guilty and sentenced, and Meek said that was one of the catalysts for him exiting their relationship. So, you know, very, very nasty allegations that the both of them are gonna have to talk about. Unfortunately, moving forward, instead
I
of
mean,
the
Nikki's
actual
riding high
music.
in her career. She's
Yeah,
accolades and money and endorsement deals and everything like crazy. She's got a TV show of her life story, I think, coming out on like Nickelodeon or something like that. And her brother gets arrested for raping his stepdaughters. I mean, it's absolutely horrible. And the case goes on and on. But there's got to be a conflict of like, how do you even deal with it as her? You know, how did you deal with your brother's guilt? And you don't want to believe it, right? Before you get to the point where you're like, okay, they found him guilty. I believe it or I don't, or how do you support your mom and all that. So she had to be very conflicted during that and lost a lot off of it. I mean, we never
mm,
saw the TV show about her life story. You know, I'm sure there were things that people probably backed off because of it. But I didn't know the Meek angle of it is that he backed off, you know, or that was part of the catalyst of them breaking up was part of, you know, part of it was that. But I mean, yeah, we're not just saying people cheated on each other or something like that. It's a whole lot. What they're accusing each other of and talking about is just a whole other level of messiness and it's heavy.
very heavy, and it's not the end of this. Like, hopefully, they won't be going at each other
They're
on.
too angry for it to be the end of this.
Yeah,
I mean, she seems that way, but they all seem too angry, and you already saw the dudes have problems with each other. So, I mean, I hope nothing happens or anything, but there's definitely feelings there that I don't know if they just go over off away after a Twitter beef.
yeah.
I do love the Twitter fingers line, no matter what, till the end of time, though. Like the hashtag Twitter fingers. I don't care what. I like when Meek uses it. Whatever it is, I just get a kick out of it.
And they definitely was using both of their Twitter fingers yesterday,
Yeah,
going at it. This
yeah.
is like, wow.
All right, what else is going on? So I think that's it. There's not too
Wheezy,
much. Wheezy, funeral, the funeral.
Wheezy F baby. I'm happy to see that Wayne is in a very active space. People may forget that Wayne for years, man, was one of the most prolific people with just putting out music, whether it was albums, whether it was mixtapes, whether it was features. He was doing his thing, and when he was having his difficulties with Birdman, it really slowed it down, and I'm sure that was very tough when you're used to actually just flooding the market, and especially what today's time and age call for. Like, you're supposed to flood the market now because the attention span is so short. So it's good to see him keep coming out with music. I wanted to see them do a little bit more with Carter Five because there were some songs and some videos I wanted to see. I wanted to see the Mona Lisa video. I wanted to see the Open Safe video. But this funeral is 20 songs, and shout out to my guy OT Genesis. He's on the album. I'm happy to see OT and Wayne get back together and do some things. And Wayne is spitting crazy on that song. And it looks like him and Birdman are actually getting to a way better place. I saw a picture of them like Super Bowl weekend sitting together, and it looked to be very not forced. It was cool. I'm sure
Yeah.
you can't force Wayne to do anything. So I guess now that the money situation is resolved, everything is back to a good space with them. So I'm happy. Wayne is somebody that been in the game for 20 some years. He's contributed a lot, and at this point in the stage, you shouldn't be stressing about whether you can put music out, man. So
I like to see rappers when they've come into their own. Like you've seen them go through their hurdles or their struggles, their difficulties. They put out large catalogs. They've gotten the accolades for what they've deserved, and they've come in. They've been through the girlfriend stuff, the fiance stuff, whatever it is, and they've come into their own over here. Where you just look at them and you're like, I think you're comfortable now. Like that's what I get with Wayne. Like I think you've been through it. You've been through all different types of highs and lows with your career. You've been all through different type of judgment and celebrations and all that, and you kind of just come to this point with your career where you exist as the star that you are, and you resonate like a comfortability now. Like you found your groove. Not that you didn't have it all along professionally, but like that it all has kind of come together. And that's what you kind of get the feeling from Wayne. I mean, even with 50, with different characters out there, is that there's been a lot, but their niche is completely carved out of where they stand,
yeah,
and who they are in the
comfortable
culture,
in their space.
in the
Yeah.
music industry, and all of that. He seems that way. Our cameraman is doing a little dance right now in the background.
Uh-oh.
A little dance going on over there. Anyway, so that's it. That's all that happened this week. More for next week. Anything else you could think about? Or you good? Besides missing Ramon. Oh, you don't miss him. Sorry.
Not at all. The Power finale, we can't talk about it. I guess
No,
we
you
got to
can't.
talk
We gotta
about it
wait till
next
next
week.
week. You can't. You can't. Even if you saw it.
Yeah.
Even if we saw it, we can't say what happened. We'll get in trouble.
Nah, it's definitely some things floating around, but 50 said that he's doing Power Book 3 is going to be called Raising Canaan. So, maybe he's coming back full time as an actor and do that. And then they have a Power Book 3 and 4 as well that they're developing. Excuse me, that's in the writer's room right now. So, a lot of power coming.
A lot of power coming. Yeah. No, a lot of TV coming. A lot of television coming. Yeah.
We need it.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Speak to you next week.